Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gabriel.
And I'm the other host, Nikki.
And we have some fun stuff in this episode. We get to talk about our trip to Seaworld.
And we are going to talk about our very first time riding Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout.
Which we'll do a little bit of a review there. We know we already posted something up on the website that was kind of like a walkthrough of the line, things like that, and posted a video from somebody who's posted it. Of the actual ride itself. But we'll talk about our actual thoughts in depth about what we thought of the attraction, as well as really our first trip to SeaWorld in a really long time.
Yeah, and a lot has changed, so there's plenty to talk about.
I literally hadn't been to SeaWorld since I was like 10 or like 8.
Yeah, I was around 15.
I slept in the shark tunnel. So like that was the only recollection I had of like going there. So when we went by, I'm like, that's where I slept. As I like rolled down the escalator thingy and I just kept pointing at the one spot. So, but I can't believe we're almost at episode 10, Nikki. This is insane.
Almost double digits. And we have a guest with us for the news today.
Yes, so we have a wonderful friend of the show here today. He has followed us really throughout our career of podcasting and being on Twitter and stuff, from Park Fanatic to Theme Park Duo, and has always been very extremely supportive and interacting on social media and everything, and he's such a nice guy. And he started his own thing. He's doing skywalkingadventure.com. This is Brian. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Hello, hello, hello.
Now, we understand that there's a lot of Universal news today that we wanted to get covered with you today, right?
Yes, there is quite a, let's just say, Universal dropping bombshell. Like, it's ridiculous how much news they drop. It's insane.
It seems like Universal likes to drop bombs right when Disney seems to be dropping other bombs themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what a coincidence. It's
what's so ironic?
Yeah, no, right? I for some reason feel like these are happening for a reason, but it's business. So and plus, like, it only benefits us, right?
Yeah, it does. And it's like, it's either some SeaWorld announcement, some Disney announcement, or Universal announcement.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So let's get into the news. So what's the first item of business here?
So let's just first talk, like, well, let's get the obvious out of the way. Nintendo. I mean...
I'm so excited.
Nintendo. So if you didn't see, I'm assuming you may or may not be away, but Mark Woodbury and the creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, had a press conference where everyone was freaking out. It's like, oh my god, construction has broken ground for Nintendo. Everyone's freaking out and everything. Actually, the biggest thing is, this project is going to be literally expensive, more expensive than the Wizarding World Harry Potter for Diagon Alley.
Wasn't it like $800 million?
No, actually, I think it was $450 million, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about Mario.
Yeah, Mario was, I think so. No, actually, no, for Japan, it's going to be about 600 billion yen.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 600 billion yen. So that's double the cost of the Wizarding World Harry Potter Diagon Alley. So, yeah, this is going to be ridiculous. And they actually did confirm, if you did not know, they did confirm the Mario Kart is going to be I think, hopefully an each attraction.
It sounds like it's going to be like their mainstay attraction of the entire land. Now, I guess the big question is this money that they're allotting towards it, because it's obviously a significant amount more than they used to produce Wizarding World. Do you think that money's more allotted to the attractions, or do you think it's more allotted to what the actual land is going to be?
I think it's going to be. I think it's a land, because you got to understand, because Nintendo is a brand that they're a big game company. I mean, they're utilizing their not just for like the consoles and the games and everything, but there's just overall just like merch, maybe like theme park food. This is going to go all over the place, not just the attractions. I mean, I could imagine that the good amount of budget can go into the attractions.
Yeah,
but I think it's just for all the whole like design. You feel like you're stepping into like Mushroom Kingdom or Hyrule Castle from Zelda. I mean, they just want to like captivate, but like you're being actually like you're in the game.
I mean, I saw the concept art and I saw like their little preview video. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I squealed like a little kid because
I saw you on Twitter.
And he runs by the people and it's like, oh my god, I'm going to be able to come through a tube and warp to World 1-1 and see all the characters and everything. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm so
I know.
amazingly excited. But on the same note, I feel like with Wizarding World and how detailed that land is, because it's very much a real world thing. So if there's something wrong with it, people will be able to notice that there's something off, as opposed to with something like Super Mario or just Nintendo in general. Let's just stick to Mario, because I'm not quite sure how many other properties are going to have there. It's very cartoony, very rounded edges. There's not too much detail in it to to the extent of Wizarding World, if that makes sense. So people don't scream at me. I understand there's a lot of detail in everything. I'm just talking about the aesthetic of it. So I mean, what do you think, Nikki? I mean, just idea-wise, aesthetic of both. It just seems like Wizarding World just has so much more detail. I feel like the money's going to go to rides.
I don't know. It's really difficult to say. I mean, sure, there's a lot of detail in Wizarding World, but you're right. It's like a lot of real world stuff. I think it might take more money to recreate like a digital world in real life. I feel like that might be a little bit more demanding to make it look right.
That's true. And I mean, we also don't know the technology going into their Mario Kart attraction or any of the other ones. We only have speculations based on what's it called? What are the things? Like technology permits that they're signing and stuff like that. So we only have that as a clue to what they're planning.
I'm praying to God. I'm thinking, hopefully it's going to be more like augmented reality because of the sound of it. Because why, for that price point, I think Universal's going to be going above and beyond for setting that immersive, detailed experience. I mean, because they think about it, I think what they confirmed it was, I think for maybe it was Mario Kart, possibly Donkey Kong and Yoshi. And apparently, and also, like I said, I don't know if you saw, like, apparently there was that leak concept on Twitter, but they gave it like a 3D rendering. I don't know if it was like fan-made, but it was actually pretty convincing that it actually saw, like, oh, guess what? That's going to be like Hyrule Castle or Zelda. I mean, it could be anything. Universal is just really just setting the bar of, like, setting themselves from like all their like properties, especially from the Wizard World, because how can you step it a notch like for that detail and that like experience that you want to like go and see based on your favorite characters or meet-and-greets or shops and restaurants, etc. So
yeah, I mean, I guess my main concern about everything that Universal does is the amount of screens that they're using. Because
please, for the love of God, no screens. Oh my God, please.
You know what? The unfortunate thing is that we're going to get screens, and I guarantee you 100% there will be screens. I guarantee you. Now, the only hope that I have for this situation is that it leans more towards a Forbidden Journey as opposed to a Gringotts.
I agree.
Because Forbidden Journey was a wonderful mix of practical and digital screens. I'm really hoping we'll see like a Mario animatronic, a Yoshi animatronic, any type of, Nintendo real world animatronic somewhere.
Right.
Mixed with some digital imagery or something. So that's all I'm hoping for. I know we're getting screens. It's just a matter of how.
Well, even people were even complaining about even for you guys over in Hollywood for the Walking Dead experience. There were screens, but there was bare minimum of a screen, for that kind of haunt and everything. So I mean,
it was barely anything.
It's just like one or two.
Yeah. So
I'm okay with that. So that's not that big of a deal. But I'm really happy and really excited to see the prospect of where this is gonna go, because I grew up with Nintendo and a lot of other people did, and it's very, very exciting. And I feel like I'm excited about this, like Nikki was for Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
She cried walking into Hogsmeade. I'm probably going to cry walking through that green tunnel, listening to the music of the land. Like, I'm going to sob.
I swear to God, if I hear like the Zelda theme song too, like in Run to Hyrule Castle, but based on the concept art, I'm thinking that I prefer Loser 2. Because now, here's what I'm hearing. Now, it's being rumored that Kid Zone is going to be closing down this November for Universal Orlando. And what I'm hearing is that maybe it's possibly Orlando's was going to be the biggest expansion for Japan. I don't know if that's true. It's just rumor and speculation at the moment. But that'd be interesting if Orlando gets a big expansion and Japan doesn't. I'll be shocked.
From what I heard, I thought Japan was getting the largest version of it.
I thought too, but if you play with your Google Map, I mean, if you look at time in the Kid Zone, I mean, that area for Universal Orlando is a huge chunk of land. Don't worry. ET is not going anywhere. They said that it's not because they just...
See, Nikki, you can calm down. It's okay. It's staying.
Good.
But moving along to next Universal news, what's the next thing up?
Okay, DreamWorks Animation, Kung Fu Panda, and other meet and greet attractions at Universal Plaza.
Let me just start off this topic with, ugh! I don't want Kung Fu Panda. I don't want Kung Fu Panda. I don't care about the DreamWorks characters. Let's get something cool, please, for the love of God.
I think it's because it's Illumination Entertainment and DreamWorks versus Disney and Pixar. If you really think about this, is that it'll be competition, but again, it'll be great corporate synergy between the both companies. However, though, I do argue that Universal needs to rebrand Illumination to make it entertainment, just make it Universal Animation or Entertainment. So that's way it'll make it less confusing. Maybe incorporate with the rides or something, or hell, maybe even use like a different soundtrack for Ripped by a Rocket to make it more something. I don't know.
See, I mean, the thing is that they could have easily done the cross promotion with a dark ride. Nikki, how excited would you be if instead of like Shrek 4D, they had a Madagascar dark ride or something, or
Cloud Chance Meatballs.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs dark ride,
I'd go for Cloudy,
or even Dragons.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, How to Train Your Dragon dark ride. Oh
how cool would it be? Like you literally sit, like imagine E.T., but instead of the bikes, you sit on Toothless.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How cool would that be?
Stop talking about it. I'm just gonna get sad that it doesn't exist.
Okay, so but I was gonna say, are you guys familiar with Motion Gate Dubai over the Middle East, where they had a huge DreamWorks expansion?
Oh yeah, I mean I watched a lot of those videos, but honestly I was really not impressed with what they did.
Well, so what I understand is that they actually, before the buyout of Universal, that they actually had permission to use those DreamWorks properties before the Universal bought out the studio. And I gotta agree with you, the park is just not impressive. It's not. I'm sorry.
Like they were boasting it as like this really huge park.
Yeah, I know.
And it's just very simplistic and very boring. I mean, like, have you watched their Hotel Transylvania ride? It's
bad.
It's
like
it's trackless, but it's bad.
It's drag. Even I saw the Ghostbusters and no.
There's attractions that are 10 years old that are better than those.
I know. It's like saying like the early days of like web before it came WDI, like the technology was just felt like it was just that type of technology. So
yeah, I
mean, God, with the think about it, like Disney so far has made the most sophisticated, most complex animatronic in the history of the company for that Shaman of Pandora and River Journey for Avatar. Why not make it that good and use it for motion game? But no, because the Middle East is different. They're a whole separate market. I just don't get the correlation of like the comprehension of why do you need to make just half-assed open attractions. I don't get it.
Well, it's cool to see something replace Shrek 4D simply because it's very dated. It needs to be replaced. But I think we just need something a bit more substantial. It just seems like it's a placeholder for right now. I mean, it's going to look beautiful. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to fit right in with their new entryway. Right. It's going to fit perfectly. But I think we need something more substantial. But
I agree.
Universal has a plan in mind, I'm sure, and I'm sure they have a lot of money allocated to other places. Moving on from that, what is the next order of business, sir?
Okay, City Walk. I mean, let's say City Walk for Margaritaville, and also we got your Voodoo Donuts finally. So
yeah, this is really cool. I mean, we haven't been able to go to Voodoo Donuts yet, just simply based on the fact that every time we go, there's like a 30 to 40 minute wait for freaking donuts.
Yeah, the line's always so long.
I just simply don't care to wait 30 to 40 minutes for a donut.
I know. I was confused. I thought it was ready to open. I was like, wait a minute, there was already a media event. The owners were there. I was kind of like confused. Like, what the hell's going on over here? So
yeah, it's a really big deal. I know that they're a really big deal in Seattle, where they're from. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I mean, it's really cool to see something else being added. I know that the Menchie's is being added to City Walk as well. We're seeing a lot of new things pop up in City Walk, giving it a little bit of a revitalization, along with their cinemas that have been remodeled, and then even having Margaritaville, which we've been to multiple times.
Margaritaville is fun.
Margaritaville's really fun.
Those nachos, though. Oh my gosh!
I saw trailers. I'm like, dude, this is torture. This is food porn. This is wrong.
Yeah, but I can't eat them. There's too many.
There's too many? Really?
Oh my gosh. Big. We ordered it and shared it, and we barely made a dent. Like, when we asked the waiter to take it away, it barely looked like we ate it. But we ate a lot.
Kind of made fun of us.
Speaking of nachos, do you guys know if you go in the Magic Kingdom in Frontierland, you know about that nacho challenge where it's like you chip in, I think it's like 60 or something, 60 or something, 55. I forgot the point. But there's a huge plate of nachos that you can order, and it's a certain challenge. You can actually split it between your friends, but the thing is, it's like freaking huge. It's like, oh my god, like guacamole, sour cream, salsa, nacho cheese.
I've never heard of that before in my life.
Me either.
Yeah, go watch it. I think go watch it. I think my buddy John, big fan now. I mean, we love him. So, but yeah, he did a video on it. It's, you believe the size. You'll be like, holy freaking crap! This is. If you ever go to like was it our restaurant or Rocks in Disney Springs, of how big their food is? Yeah, imagine that's what they order at the Big Thunder Trailer.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that's crazy. Well, I want to try it now. I want to try the challenge.
So I gotta ask you guys. So you guys been to the Margaritaville in Orlando at City Walk, right?
No, we've only been to the one here in Hollywood.
Okay. So you know the one. So the one actually, what I know because I've been to Margaritaville, I like it. I enjoy it. I think it's a little bit bigger. I think it has 2 floors. That could be fun. But the one thing I actually really like corporate about, they actually had the plane where from Jimmy Buffett's on Jamaica Mistake where he got bullet holes. Yeah, that's actually the original plane they have in Orlando. So.
Oh, that's
cool.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, like I said, if you're in Orlando, I mean, like I said, I know the food pretty much the same, but I just think it's a little more bigger in Orlando versus the one you have in Hollywood. But definitely go check it out. I think it's a lot of fun, and trust me, I've actually been to the Margaritaville. Actually, I went to the one in Jamaica. It was, man, okay.
Okay, now it's time for our Haunting Headlines. Okay, so the news just dropped the other day from this recording. Today's like the 14th or something, so it was dropped yesterday on the 13th. Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood is getting American Horror Story Roanoke as one of their mazes this year. So this is interesting because I know that Orlando is doing 3 of the seasons in one house, which includes Roanoke, I believe.
Yep.
But we're just getting Roanoke. And you know what? I'm excited about that simply based on the fact that we don't have to, minimize each season because there's so many memorable things within each season. I'm excited just to see the one thing. And that was my one gripe last year about the house, was I felt like the first 2 portions of it kind of got swept under the rug, and Hotel got this huge, massive portion.
Yeah, and Roanoke was such a good season. I'm really, really excited.
He doesn't agree.
I liked it.
I told Gabe when I prepared that, I almost went through my remote. It pissed me off. It was so bad. It was so cringeworthy. Like, that last scene, I was like, sorry, but WTF, what did I was watching? Oh my god. Seriously, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? That is the most poorly written way of showing Lana Winters from Asylum, and that I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, Murphy, like, dude, what happened? It was all of this. So
we kind of felt that way about Coven. We hated Coven.
Oh, I hated Coven.
Hated Coven a lot,
Yeah.
and Hotel just didn't resonate with us either. The ones that we liked were season 1, 2, and then Freak Show. We loved those, and then we really liked Roanoke a lot, just simply based on the fact that it was such an interesting way about telling a story.
I have to disagree. I know everyone has a different opinion for each season, but I personally love Coven because it's just that, the story, the music, the cinematography, was just a character generation. I mean, just getting that feeling of like, in New Orleans between Buddhism and witches of Salem, and just, that creepiness, because remember, New Orleans is a very creepy haunted city, so I mean that actually had the realistic environment, and come on, and not to mention also the fact that Stevie Nicks was in it too. That just come on.
Every episode was a Stevie Nicks music video. I'm not here to watch MTV. I'm here to watch people get murdered.
It was awful.
Anyway, I mean, there were good things to the season.
There
were good things to the season.
Honestly,
there were some really cool things, but I mean, watching Precious have sex with a Minotaur, not so much.
No, honestly, if you take away the Stevie Nicks, I would have liked it a lot more.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
Yeah.
I still would have disliked it. I mean, I thought that it had the building blocks of having a really cool season.
Yeah.
There was just something with it that I just was not.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks.
Well, more than Stevie Nicks. Well, let's get into the synopsis of this attraction. Moving away from our disagreement of television. It says American Horror Story Roanoke will unearth the twisted legacy of the lost colony of Roanoke, transporting guests to the haunted backwoods of North Carolina, where they will experience the terror that has tormented the town for centuries. The all-new disturbing maze, reimagined in acute and disturbing details, will unmask a cast of deranged killers from the cannibalistic Polk family who subsists by feeding upon innocent victims to the butcher who thrives on human sacrifices. Trapped in a vicious circle of evil and murder, guests will find themselves in a life-or-death battle to outrun the nightmare of Roanoke before the vindictive spirits and demented killers soaked the earth with blood of their victims. So it kind of almost sounds like they're going along the same lines as like a Freddy versus Jason. Like, you're getting caught in between a battle.
Yeah.
I gotta say, in my opinion, for my first Halloween Horrors, I mean, I know there's been really great lineups, but dude, for both coasts between like Hollywood and Orlando, I don't know if they can top that lineup. That lineup was just was godly amazing. Like it really was. I mean, it's crazy. Like, even I remember, like, you know, last year, the first Midsummer Screen panel, they said that it took them like 10, 20 years to get the rights for Exorcist.
Yeah.
And it's just insane. But The Exorcist, though, I heard that sometimes for the interactive smells, like, they sometimes turn on the vomit and the puking smells, and sometimes they don't. So it's a random probability you don't know what you're going to get.
To be honest, I don't remember smelling puke.
I don't remember smells, no. So I guess that's true.
I don't know if it's exclusive for Orlando or Hollywood, but that's what I heard, so.
Yeah, I genuinely don't remember smelling puke. I remember getting puked on.
Yeah.
But I don't remember smelling puke.
Yeah, no, neither do I.
Yeah.
Because I do remember other people were like, oh my god, that puke smell was the worst. I almost puked.
I guess it was.
But I never smelled it, so I mean, anyway.
Did you guys have the spider walk in your maze?
Yes, we did. Yeah. That was at the
Okay.
very beginning. Yeah. That was really awkward. Like, the viewing of that was really awkward. I thought they could have done a lot better job of the placement of the stairs so that you could easily see it happen, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, because some people say for Orlando said that the spider walk was on or not working. I don't know, so. Yeah.
But excited to see American Horror Story Roanoke come to life and scare the life out of us.
Yeah.
At Halloween Horror Nights this year in Hollywood, so.
And Orlando.
And Orlando. Partially in Orlando, because it's like the third part of your maze.
Yeah, third part is, the Uber house, so.
But the last piece of news, actually, not the last piece of news, we have a couple more things to cover. We'll go through this pretty quickly. So, Disney actually announced yesterday that Fantasmic was returning.
Yay!
Yes!
And they gave us dates on when Fantasmic was coming back, as well as when the train's going to reopen, when the boats are going back to Tom Sawyer's Island, and when everything was pretty much ready to go.
I'm so excited.
So July 17th is when Fantasmic is returning, so that's really exciting. Then on June 16th, the Mark Twain Riverboat, Sailing Ship Columbia, and the Davy Crockett Explorer Canoes, those are all going to be open on the 29th.
Of June or July?
Of July.
Okay.
And then the Rivers of America attractions will reopen, starting with Pirate's Lair on Tom Sawyer's Island on June 16th. So that's right around the corner. That's from right now.
It is. I kind of find it interesting. Why would they open the day after the D23 Expo? Isn't that just like corporate synergy move? Or
totally.
Like,
they want people to stick around to do it. If anything, I'm surprised that they didn't do it that weekend where all the Disney fans are communed in one spot and just want to go over there.
Well, they want people at the convention.
That's a good point.
I mean, because like I was saying, like, you know, I get it. Not people want to do the convention all day, and sometimes go hit the parks. I mean, personally, when I went for my first time for D23 2015, like, I only caught honestly, but I can tell one thing for anyone who goes to D23, if you guys listen to this, you will guarantee not get every panel in. I was lucky enough; I only got like 4 or 5 panels in. It's really hard to get into, honestly. So. Yeah,
I mean, it was pretty difficult for us when we went in 2013.
4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago. So it was pretty difficult. Can't imagine that it's any easier now. It's probably gotten significantly more difficult. So, but yeah, so we have dates on when everything's going to reopen, and I already know that I have my planned trip on that Monday, July 17th, to go see Fantasmic the first night it's reopened, because that's my favorite show of all time that Disney has ever done.
I'm so excited.
No, is it? No, what I heard from rumors are true. Isn't that it was supposed to be incorporating the Pirates of the Caribbean on the Sailing Ship Columbia?
So those are the rumors. It didn't say that in the article. At least I don't think it did. I know that they specified that they said that Lion King as well as Aladdin were going to be involved.
Yeah.
So those are the two major things that they pointed out. But I think Pirates of the Caribbean is probably going to replace Peter Pan.
Yeah, I think so because, well, think about it. The recent movie came out, and Disney typical fashion. When a new movie comes out, they refurbish the ride, it gets updated with the current film. So
yeah, so it makes sense that it's going to be there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is there, but I think it will be. Moving forward with a little bit more Disney news. Actually, today, the day that we're recording, about 3 hours ago, there was at EPCOT there was a chunk of metal that actually flew off of the monorail towards some guests. Luckily, nobody was hurt, and people were stuck on the monorail. I don't remember what color it was, but it sounds like it was a pretty big deal. I mean, the piece that I saw was bigger than my hand.
Yeah, it was. I saw the guy was like, dude, I was like, oh my god, what happened?
Yeah, I think maybe just stress fractures and something broke off. But in all honesty, with our experience with the monorail and with a lot of other people, it sounds like they just need TLC. They need brand new monorails. They need to do something with that because it was such an issue when we went.
Yeah, it was always breaking down.
Yeah, the monorail. The problem is just the cost and the budget and the timing. I mean, there's other modes of transportation to get around the resort, but it's really. I mean, and also with the gondolas coming down the line, it's really debatable like what Disney's going to be doing for the next move to like maybe update their monorail system. So
yeah, well, let's just hope that they do something quickly so that these incidents don't continue to happen and the monorails are able to operate because they are a source of transportation there. And without that source of transportation, the crowds are just going to get really bad on the boats and the ferries and the sky buckets when they do arrive here. So
and also the for long term that Disney is also possibly going to be incorporating that hands-free whatchamacallit. The transportation system where it's hands-free and it's like
robotic buses that just drive.
Yeah, but unfortunately what I heard is that it's only going to be for cast members only.
That's what I heard. So they're only going to use them as guinea pigs first. So that's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that brings us to the end of our news. Thank you so much for joining us today for this insane chunk of news. I think we got through a lot for about 30 minutes. So congratulations. That is an accomplishment.
I know. Oh my God. Drinks all around.
Well, my friend, please plug whatever you want to plug. Let people know where they can find you.
Okay, so you guys can follow me on my blog at Skywalking Adventure, Facebook at Skywalking Adventure Blog, Instagram Skywalking Adventure, and my Twitter at SkyFNBlog or Skywalking Adventure.
There you go. Well, thank you again so much. And we'll be chatting soon, my friend.
Yes, definitely for sure. Cheers around. It was a pleasure, and you guys are awesome.
Thanks, man. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
It was so fun having Brian on. I mean, it's nice to have guests on for the news. We should probably do this more often.
Yeah, they bring a whole other insight into the news more than just our opinions.
But our opinions are what matter.
I don't know what to say.
It doesn't matter.
I couldn't follow that up.
Everyone's opinions matter. But moving forward, let's get to our trip report to SeaWorld.
Yeah, let's go.
Relax in the sun. SeaWorld, good times and view. It's the faces you've missed. A whale of a kiss. It's SeaWorld, good times and view. Shampoo and dolphins, so much to do. Come back and see all the things that are new. Remember the chills, the smiles and the thrills. It's SeaWorld, good times and you.
So, as we said before in the intro, it's been a long time since either of us have gone here.
Yeah, I was about 15 years old, and it was like a pit stop during a cruise, so it wasn't even like a full day. It was like the amount of time we had before we had to run back to the boat.
So everything was essentially new to us. For me, like I'd said, I hadn't been there since I was like 10. I didn't remember a single thing other than where I spent the night and then some ride called the Bermuda Triangle.
Which isn't there.
Which isn't there anymore. Which I'm pretty sure was over in the area where like the penguins are and where the Arctic like really crappy motion simulator is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's where that was. But I had a lot of fun altogether, like going. It was a blast going to someplace where I hadn't been. It was like a brand new experience, you know? It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a great day. We had a ton of fun.
Yeah, so the first thing when you kind of walk up to SeaWorld, they have this really big, nice, artistic style wave, I guess you could say.
Yeah, at the entrance.
Yeah, the entrance is a big wave, and then you could hear the ocean kind of going by every now and again. And as you walk in, they have all these little tide pools that you can put your hands in.
The touch pools. That's one of my favorite parts. And we found out from a person that worked there that it was something that used to be part of like the behind the scenes tour, and then people loved it so much, and they got so many comments like, make that more available, and so they brought it to the front of the park as like a thank you during one of their anniversary years.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really awesome thing. What's better than the first thing you walk in is a hands-on experience with sea life. So they have these little sucker fish that go on your hand. They have the horseshoe crabs. They have sharks. They have a whole bunch of stuff that you can put your hands in and start touching and really get up and close and personal with sea life, which I think is kind of what SeaWorld is about. It's getting close to something you're not familiar with, or maybe you're a little scared of,
Yeah. I think our favorite for sure was the little fish that would like suck on your fingers. It's like they were eating the dead skin. I think they're those fish that they use for like those pedicures, where you put your feet.
Yeah, they probably were, honestly. And I think they didn't really get attracted to your hands.
They loved your hands.
But they loved my hands. I don't know why.
And
Maybe it's because there was barbecue on them or something.
Maybe. But then there was also this little kid that was like next to you, probably never washed his hands.
I couldn't see his hand.
They were all over him.
I couldn't see his hand. I just saw fish.
It was really fun. It was such a weird feeling.
No, it was really weird. But I mean, like we said, it's just fun touching the fish and actually doing something as opposed to a big glass wall and just staring at something. I mean, you get to admire something, but it's a whole different story when you're interacting with the wildlife, It's crazy.
Yeah.
The first thing that we did that we really wanted to do, we were adamant about starting the day off with, was Manta, the roller coaster that they have over there, and we loved it.
Yes, we ran straight there and we rode it, and then there was like no line, so we just rode it again.
Yeah, I mean, we hadn't been on the ride, so we really didn't know what to expect. I knew it was a launch coaster. I didn't know about the extent of how fast the launch was. I did know that like certain aspects, but altogether it caught me off guard because when you look at it from the outside, it's very unsuspecting.
Yeah, it's low to the ground, it doesn't look like it does all that much, but it's really fun.
Yeah, it gets you on a good launch. So as soon as you get onto the train itself, it pulls around a corner. You go inside this big tunnel that's a big LCD screen for all intents and purposes, and it shows mantas swimming all around you.
Looks like you're in a fish tank.
And your train kind of goes back and forward. I found that slightly annoying.
It was like the wave.
I don't know if that is truly the reasoning behind it.
I think it was. It was like the tide, like pulling and pushing you.
If anybody knows the true reason for why the train does that, let us know. But as soon as that happens, the front door opens and you launch out. And that launch caught me off guard because I didn't expect it to be as strong as it was. But I guess simply because the distance between where you are and the next kind of big turn that you have to get up around is not very long. So they have to get you up to a certain speed really quickly.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of dips and turns and dives and stuff. And like you said, it's not very high, but it definitely gives you some airtime and ejector airtime and a lot of fun like bits to any roller coaster. And like we said, it doesn't look like it's tall, but it packs a punch.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So we really enjoyed that. We rode it twice.
We bought the picture.
We got the picture. And we actually went right next door where they had all the mantas.
Yeah.
So you actually get to touch them and feed them and put the fish between your fingers and they suck it out of your fingers and stuff. I remember you went up and you put your hand in the water to touch one of their like, I guess their fins.
Backs, yeah.
The backs, and you were just like,
It's an unexpected texture.
Slimy?
I wouldn't even say slimy.
It's slimy.
No, but
it feels slimy. It's not slimy, but it feels slimy. It's like soft and squishy.
Yeah, it was just really weird. I wasn't expecting it.
You squealed and people looked at you. Like the 5-year-old kid looked at you and was like, "What?"
No.
Yeah, the kids were
No.
making fun of you.
And also, they're really deep down in the tank, and I didn't realize how far down they were. And I just
You went, like, elbow
with
deep?
all my gusto, I like put my hand in, and I didn't realize that my shirt sleeve got wet.
So you had the wet sleeve for the rest of the day,
Just for
or at
a
least
little
till
while.
it dried off.
Yeah.
After that, we went and checked out the brand new area that they opened up, Ocean Explorer. So that was kind of the reason why we were there.
Yeah.
Was to see this, and it was a really fun kids area.
It was really fun. They had a uniform theme throughout the whole area. It was like you're exploring these underwater sea creatures, and there's like this little submarine robot guy. I forgot his name, but he's like guiding you through, all these attractions. His like voice is the overlying voice across all the rides,
And we didn't know the reason for that until we went on their main attraction.
Yeah.
Because he's on the main attraction, and that's why the voice is there, and that's why it's spread everywhere else. But before that, we were just listening to the rides, and all we hear is, "Get ready to ride this ride, yeah," or whatever.
I'm sure it sounded a little better than that.
And I'm just like, it just sounds like they recorded it all at the same time and just put it on the different rides. Why are they doing that? But he was the voice on Submarine Quest, so it just made a little bit more sense once you went on it. But I feel like if you didn't go on it, you would just assume that they just recorded the same voice in a row for all the attractions.
Yeah, you might think that. I mean, if you really pay attention, which I'm not sure how much other people, like the average park goer, pays attention to like the overall theming of the land, but if you pay attention, the little yellow robot submarine guy does appear a few places. He's like at the entrance, and he's like right above the Submarine Quest sign. So if you might get it, but it's kind of obscure unless you ride Submarine Quest.
Pretty much. I mean, other than Submarine Quest, which we'll get to in a second, they have a whole bunch of other kids rides. One being Octorock, which was
It's a big swing.
It's a big swing, essentially. Tentacle Twirl, which was essentially just a swing ride.
Yeah.
And then they had a couple other little kids rides that were like bobbing up and down, and I forgot the names of them. And then kind of like a miniature version of Dumbo, but with fish.
Yeah.
Instead. But the main attraction was the Submarine Quest. I mean, they did have some like fish life area things we kind of go look and stuff, but Submarine Quest was the big deal.
Yeah.
Now, when we got there, it was a 2-hour wait.
It's a very slow loader.
It's extremely slow loader, and I was surprised at how busy it was in general just for its second day in operation.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's because it was popular and it's new and people are like, oh my god, it's new? Or do you simply think that it was a 2-hour wait just because of the way it loads?
I think it was a mixture. I think it was a lot of people going to it because it was new and their kids haven't been on it before and their kids really want to go on it. They've probably, people who go to the park all the time who have season passes might, they're probably watching it be built. Their kids were really excited. So Saturday opening weekend, I'm sure that fed a lot into why the wait was so long, but it is also just a very, very slow loader.
So the line just twirls around, which, by the way, the line isn't super detailed or themed. It does get a little bit better near the entrance of the actual attraction itself. Like when you're about to get on, it gets better, but it just is kind of bland. Once you get to the front, there's actually a photo op, which is what we're talking about as being really slow. They actually take your photo in front of a background, and then you have the option of buying it later, which is a great option. I love that.
Yeah.
I just think the placement of it was terrible.
Honestly, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I don't think the photo op slows down anything. I think the photo op is there because it's such a slow loader and it kind of eats the time, so people aren't just waiting by the gate so long. They're taking a picture. I think it's meant to occupy people while they're waiting, and I really believe that.
I don't know. I mean, if you counted the amount of time that it took us, like once we finished taking the photo,
Yeah.
then right after that is the actual loading area where you get onto the attraction itself. You get to your number, you get on the ride. I'd say that was maybe a minute and a half to when we were actually sitting down in the actual ride and like moving.
Well, we came on late. We were the last ones put into our spot.
Oh, you're right. We were.
So the people who went in, front row, they were probably waiting there for, could have been 5 minutes. Because I know that we got on and we saw this woman waiting to take her picture. And we went on the whole ride. And then that woman who was waiting to take her picture when we started was in the line to get on the ride vehicle.
Yeah.
So she was still there waiting. You know, we rode the whole ride, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was something going on in that process that just was not conducive to moving that line along, and people were not moving at all.
But I think as the ride, it gets there longer, you know, I feel like the wait won't be as bad.
Yeah, it definitely has some kinks to work out, which is like any attraction, you know, needs to figure out its pacing.
Yeah.
So once that's figured out, I'm sure everything will just be just fine.
Let's talk about the ride in general.
Yeah, so the ride is an interactive ride. So you get in these little submarines that go around a track and inside and outside.
And you have a touch screen in front of you.
Yeah, and so you get instructions from the little yellow robot that we were talking about, and our instructor saying, oh, press this, catch as many jellyfish as you can, or raise the oxygen levels here, and doing different actions that kind of correlate to what the storyline is. And I guess you're going off to go try to find this type of animal. I forgot. It was kind of a light mention at the beginning.
Yeah.
And as you go through, there's some LCD screens and some rocks and stuff, and there really wasn't much. On the inside is where it kind of got a little bit more interesting with this big octopus that was attacking, and you get inked and stuff, or you see like the little light up fish and stuff swimming around. That was really where it got interesting, but then that was where the ride ended.
Yeah, but you got to remember this is a ride for kids. You know, it's in the kid area, so I feel like a 5-year-old or maybe like 5 to 8-year-old would probably find it a lot more interesting than we did.
They would just like being on it and being up high.
Yeah, and I think the interactive touchscreen kind of makes them involved in the ride a little more because you really have to count stuff, and you know it makes it more interactive.
Pretty much. I mean, we're almost 30, so it's not going to entertain us insanely. But I can imagine, like we said, like 5-year-olds to 12-year-olds actually genuinely being extremely entertained by this. Just simply based on you have like this cool little cute character and there's things to do. It isn't so much about like how crazy the ride is as much as it is how much there is to do. And I think it's smart because it's almost feeding off of what kids are already doing these days. When they're not going to do something, they're on their tablet, they're on their phone. You know, kids are growing up that way.
Exactly.
And so when they're on this attraction, it's essentially just the tablet and you're pressing and they know what to do.
Yeah.
It's easy for them. It's translatable.
Yeah.
Visual literacy. So, I mean, I think they have a hit on their hands just based on how long that line was. I think kids are going to love this ride. I think it's a nice little addition for a family attraction. I
think so too. It's a very nice area where you could keep your kids occupied for a long time after you get them away from the touch pools at the entrance.
Yeah, pretty much. And then one of the other big attractions that we saw that day, which was pretty new, was the Orca Encounter.
It was also, I believe, the opening weekend for the Orca Encounter.
Yeah. And I thought this was a pretty good show.
Yeah.
I loved how educational it was. It was very educational. Very different from what I remember SeaWorld being, where it was like, look at the beautiful animals. We bond with the animals.
Yeah.
We hug and kiss them. Oh my God!
It was they completely redid the stadium, like, for lack of a better word, the stage, like the backdrop to the...
Yeah, it's one big screen now. Yeah, like it's a big LCD screen.
It's a big screen, and then they have some, like,
graphics, or some, like, 3D texturing, like,
yeah, they have,
set
like,
design
hills
going
and
on.
mountains. It's very pretty, and, and then the big screen is what they use to, like, show videos of orcas and like facts about orcas, and there's like the trainers there. They're not in the water anymore. They're just outside on these little stands giving the orcas commands and stuff, and the orcas are in the water and they're doing their thing. They're jumping and they're splashing. Yeah. That's Gabe's reenactment.
That's the sound of them jumping and then the splash.
Yeah.
The splash of water is
It was a much more educational show, but it was still very entertaining and very fun. And who doesn't love just seeing these beautiful creatures up close, that you would never get to see?
Pretty much. I mean, they made a really, really big effort in saying that these things that the whales are doing are not tricks. These are not tricks. These are things the animal is used to doing in nature, and they're just pushing forward those tendencies with fish and ice and things like that.
Yeah.
To have them do those things. So they aren't tricks. They are actually things they do in the wild. They made a really big effort in saying that. one of the things that I found really interesting was because that screen was so large, they were able to show the actual size of the whales that killer whales eat.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize
Like a humpback
how
whale.
big these whales get. And killer whales are still able to take them down in their packs.
Yeah, because they work together.
Like, that's insane. I know that you got a little sad when they were showing up, like, how they break ice to get seals and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to see that. I was like, this better not go on Nature Channel where you actually show it. Like,
I wanted blood and guts.
I would have left.
I wanted the blood and guts.
Yeah.
I wanted the water to turn red.
But no, it's a family-friendly park. They didn't show any of that, just the impending doom.
But
they didn't actually show the doom.
They didn't show the doom. I do think it's important to talk about that, though, especially within an educational area and show. It's important to say, these are animals, and this is how they act.
But they are actually dangerous.
They are dangerous.
Yeah.
They are not playful and stuff like that. So I think it's important to get that across. Although they do have the aspect of, look at them jump in the water and stuff, they at least put the information out there that says they are dangerous. Do not mess with killer whales.
Yeah, this show is more like, look at them jump in and out of the water.
This is why they do this.
This is why they do that. So it was definitely more informative than their other shows.
Extremely more informative.
I liked it.
I had a great time. And then, of course, they have the kid go down at the bottom, and they were talking about how whales displace water to kind of mess fish's location up so that they could eat fish.
Yeah.
But we don't really understand how much water is actually being displaced when that happens. So what they did was they took a kid, brought her down to the edge of the glass where the water is, and had one of the whales push its tail and displace water. It was a huge tidal wave of water. Just
You couldn't
right
even
on top
see
of
the kid.
girl.
She was in a poncho, thankfully.
That did not help anything. Did you see it was just like inside the poncho and stuff? She's like soaked. It was crazy. But it was just a very impressive show. I learned actually quite a bit about killer whales, more than I knew before.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, definitely. That's what they're aiming for now, is more educational experience, I think, than just a flashy, hey, look what we can do, you know.
Yeah, it's really going towards the edutainment side of anything instead of just entertainment,
and that's what
with
it
a little
should
bit
be.
of education.
That's what the park is about. It's about, you know, rescuing, rehabilitating, and informing, I think, the general public about sea creatures and sea life. So I think it was a great show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the other big things that we got to do was a sea lion encounter.
Yeah, because it was our first time at SeaWorld in forever, we decided we'd see what kind of special things they offered, you know, like upcharge things, you know. And they were actually very well priced. So
it was $50 a person to go touch a sea lion.
$50 a person for a behind the scenes tour, and you get to actually they didn't promise that you would get to touch a sea lion because we were
it depends on their their moment.
Yeah, they were saying that the sea lion tour is the newest, and so they're still kind of, you know, feeling it out. So it all depends on what sea lion will come out to meet you that day, whether you get to feed it or whether you actually get to touch it. And before we get to the actual sea lion part, we'll let's talk about the behind the scenes area.
Yeah, so they took us back in the area where they used to have that Cirque du Soleil show, and that's closed now. And they took us past the gated area, and we were behind the scenes where they had a couple dolphins swimming around in this pool, but we didn't know there was dolphins. They just said, hey, walk along this railing, but stick to the left side of the railing because these animals tend to like to pull at people and say hello and be curious. And we're like, what animal is that? I don't know.
And we soon found out because they kept like bobbing their heads up like, hey, who are you? Hey, want to play? Hey, do you have any fish? And they just kept bobbing their heads up, just like looking at us. And this was like 3 feet away.
They were just super curious.
So that was, and then that was to our right. And then to our left, there were these enclosures. You couldn't really see into them very well. There was like mesh over them, but they were all of the sea lions of different varieties that SeaWorld was currently rescuing and rehabilitating from the bay right there, you know? So, and those are sea lions that they're just there to recuperate and then go back into the wild. They're never seen by the public, you know, they're just there to help. You know, and
they also had elephant seals.
Elephant seals. Oh, they were loud.
They were all of the seals were loud, but specifically those ones sounded like people screaming.
Yeah.
Like, they literally sounded like someone dying.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of that screaming goat.
Yeah.
That's all it reminded me of. And just, we'll be having a normal conversation. Just a normal, like, oh yeah, SeaWorld does this, and this, and this. And then all of a sudden...
Yeah.
Just all of us giggle because it's hard not to giggle.
They're really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they took us past these glass windows where you could see the
like vets and professionals
the vet
working.
centers. Yeah, and they were currently like putting a
bird to sleep.
A bird under anesthesia because apparently got hurt or something, and apparently right before that they were working on a little otter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I found really impressive was they had this board back there, and it's where they keep track of how many animals they actually
kill?
No.
Just
No, Debbie Downer. No, they had this board of all the animals that they've helped, and it said that this year alone they've helped over 500, and since SeaWorld opened, it was, what was it, like 30,000?
It was something insane.
And like that just really surprised me because that's the stuff that you don't hear about all the time, you know, how much good they actually do.
Yeah, I think that once the movie Blackfish kind of came into being, I feel like people just kind of forgot about the good stuff that they do and only focused on the bad stuff that maybe is happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional, nor am I a person that's done any research into what Blackfish says or anything. You know, I feel like that's just kind of the consensus now because it got so popular.
It's just got a bad rap for a while, but I feel like they're trying to
They do a lot of good,
They
and they're
do,
trying to
yeah.
change their image based on a lot of the information that people think about them. But, you know, it's a really unfortunate circumstance, and I think, by the way, just since we're talking about it, I don't think us doing this episode is saying, like, SeaWorld is 100% amazing and we're defending them. That's not what we're saying here.
Yeah.
We're talking about our experience going to the park, and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's it. We're not saying anything political by talking about our visit, you know. We're just talking about what we experienced.
We went to a theme park and we had fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it really has to do with that. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, Forrest. Let's talk about
The actual
sea
sea
lions
lions.
now. Yeah, so after that little backstage tour, we went to a separate area, and it's right behind. If you've ever been to SeaWorld, they have like the
Dolphin show?
SeaWorld exhibit. No, the actual SeaWorld Sea Lion exhibit.
I thought, wasn't that the big dolphin stadium that was right behind us?
there's the Dolphin Stadium off to the side, and then there's the Sea Lion exhibit.
Yeah, so it's in between those two things.
Yeah, so it's basically the backstages of that exhibit where they hold the sea lions when they're not out, you know, on the rocks and getting fed fish and stuff. And so they said that they were going to bring out one sea lion. I forgot what her name was, but she was one of the oldest sea lions they have, and she was partially blind. And so apparently she's one of their nicer ones. So we actually got to pet her.
Yeah, so if you go to themeparkduo.com and check out our blog post, you actually see pictures of me and Nikki petting the sea lion.
Yeah, she was really sweet.
She flapped her fins out as she's walking. It was super cute.
Yeah.
She sat up there and she was talking. She when the instructor guy was talking, she was looking at him, just
Like
staring.
she knew who he was.
Yeah, she knew who he was, and so we got to pet them and feed them and stuff. And once this one was done, so they made a really big point. I want to say this before going forward. They made a really big point in saying that if they are not comfortable, they will walk away.
Yeah.
We are teaching them to walk away. So they have a little stage where they go up and sit down on, but it's open on the right side. So if the sea lion ever feels uncomfortable or doesn't want to be there, it'll just go down that steps and walk away and go back to its pool area. Mm-hmm. So they made a very big effort in saying that the sea lions are in charge of whether or not they want to be there.
Yeah.
And
they also said they only reinforce positive behavior.
Yes.
If they do something they're not supposed to do, they just ignore them. And that's why we didn't get to see the last sea lion.
Yeah, so we'll get to that
Yeah.
after we talk about all the other stuff. So that's actually a really good example.
Yeah.
They brought out a few other sea lions. One of them was something that they said they rarely see.
Yeah.
Because it's usually in a different part of the world.
Like down in Mexico.
Yeah,
area.
but it just happened to be here, and it being here let them know, like, something's wrong.
If you're this far north, something went wrong.
Yeah. So a lot of the time with their sea life, when they bring them in, they rehabilitate them and they let them loose. But apparently it's a big government deal, so they have to talk to the government to see if they're able to release these animals into the wild again. And sometimes the government's like, hey, you can't. So that's when they keep the animals and rehabilitate them and make them part of the park.
Yeah.
That's why they keep them. They don't just keep whatever they want. And I think this one is probably going to stay. I don't quite remember if they said anything. I think they said they're in limbo. They're trying to see if they're going to release it or not.
The little Mexican one? Oh my god. What? He was very small.
Yes, the little Mexican one.
He was a very small sea lion.
Are we talking about my cousin? Are we talking about my cousin or are we talking about the sea lion?
Go look at the pictures.
It's okay. Yes, that one. He was definitely a different type of sea lion. He wasn't smooth. Like, you could tell that his fur or whatever is on him was very much ruffled up. Like, that's just the way he looks.
It was like a thicker coat, like longer hair. Because, like, the sea lion, the first sea lion, you know, it's like very... Yeah, like, he actually has, like, a coat. We're looking at the pictures right now.
It looks like fur as opposed to, like, smooth skin like the other one.
Yeah.
So he kind of almost looked like a dog. That's the way I explain him.
Like a Tasmanian devil with fins.
Yeah, kind of. Like, he has really big, sharp teeth, and they stick out past his lips because they're so big.
Yeah.
And I found it really funny because they're feeding these guys fish, and we're taking photos, and they give this guy, who's probably the smallest of the three, this huge fish. That's like the size of my forearm, so it's just sitting in his mouth horizontally, and it's bending out the sides, and he's just munching on it, but blood is just going everywhere all over the place, dripping on him and on the floor. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, and we were like 2 feet away from him. It was like, oh,
we were very close to him. I was in the splash zone of blood. That's crazy. But I mean, he enjoyed his fish, and then there was some seagulls around and birds that were daring enough to try to steal some fish from him.
Yeah.
But and then there was another one, and they brought out a few other ones to take pictures with. And then they said they wanted to bring out one more, and this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Nothing came out, and if you guys were watching our Periscope, you'd know exactly what happened. We were waiting for them to bring out another sea lion, and it took them like maybe 10 minutes, and then the guy eventually came out. He's like, "Yeah, remember we told you that we were only like enforcing good behavior."
He was being bad.
All of them were being bad.
All of them were being bad. Yeah, they're supposed to, like, apparently when you're trying to call one over, they're all supposed to stay on a mark and not leave the
Only
mark.
2 of them did, and the other ones were not listening.
Yeah, they were all, like, bum rushing the gate, like, let me out. So they
gave the treats to the other 2 that listened, but didn't bring anybody out because it's just, that's how it goes. They're wild animals. They do what they want.
Yeah.
So, but I honestly, like, all of the above with regards to SeaWorld in our adventures and going on the different rides. Atlantis, which, by the way, was super fun. Not too much to talk about. But
no, but I don't know if I'd ever been on a ride like Atlantis.
An elevator
before.
to the top?
No, let's talk about it for a second.
Okay.
Because it's like mini coaster meets Pirates of the Caribbean. It was like I've never been on one before where it was like half coaster, half water ride. Like, that was just so unique for me.
It's very different.
Yeah, so it starts out dry
with a big lift.
Yeah, with a big lift.
Then you go down the big drop.
Yeah, and then you go down the big drop into water, and then you go around on the boat, and then you go into this little shaft, and an elevator brings you back up to the top of this tower, and then you go out again, and it's a coaster, a dry coaster again,
and then it goes into water again. You were freaked out.
I don't know if I trust something that is like on a track part of the time and then free floating the other time. Like, that just doesn't seem. So that seems like something could go wrong. And I know it's been there for a long time and it's fine, but it was fun, but it unnerved me a lot.
That's some science stuff I don't trust.
I don't know about that.
I don't trust none of that.
But I rode it and it was fun.
It was a fun time.
And they have this really cool fish tank at the exit that looks like the sunken city of Atlantis, you know, and like all these fish are swimming around it.
Yeah, and they have mantas there and everything too.
Yeah.
So we rode that. We rode Manta. We didn't do the Sky Tower. We pretty much saw all the exhibits. We saw the penguins. We saw the manatees. The
sharks.
Antarctica. The sharks.
The turtles.
Literally everything. We did the sky buckets, which are essentially just
gondolas.
Gondolas that they had at Disneyland, and they got rid of them. They had the same thing, but it's over the harbor.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice.
That is fun.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, saw the whale show. Saw basically everything.
Yeah.
And we actually had some really good food there too. I was really genuinely surprised.
Yeah. What did you have again?
I don't remember. I just remember it being good. Oh, I had a roasted chicken with fries.
Yeah. And a beer.
Yeah, and a beer.
Yeah,
Which,
and-
by the way, get the souvenir glass. It's fun.
It is fun. It's still in my trunk.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, side note. It's still in my trunk. And then I had this, there was like this bar, like beer and wine bar, but they also made these little pizzas. And some of them sounded fishy, no pun intended.
That was pun intended. Don't you lie. You got shrimp.
It was a little pun intended. But no, some of them were,
You're punny.
some of them were unique, like combinations of stuff, but there was one that actually sounded good. It was like, it was almost like shrimp with pico de gallo on it, and then seaweed on top, and it was good. I really liked it.
So I wasn't actually a fan of what you ate, but I liked my chicken. My chicken was delicious.
Well, everyone has different tastes.
Your food sucked.
I liked my little pizza and my little wine that you pull the top off. I forgot what are they?
Copa.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The guy was on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they told him, "You're crazy."
And
then
now,
he made billions
and now
of dollars.
those things are everywhere.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
everywhere. So, suck it, Shark Tank.
We're talking
about SeaWorld.
Talking about SeaWorld and Shark Tank.
The guy was on top of the Shark Tank trying to sell sharks the wine.
I wonder if he like put his product in SeaWorld as like a
jab.
A jab to Shark
Hey,
Tank.
Shark Tank, look at me. I'm selling it to SeaWorld,
He's
and
like-
now they sell by the Shark Tank.
He's like standing in front of the Shark Tank just drinking it. Like
I'm so accomplished.
okay, we've gone somewhere we weren't supposed to go with this show right now.
Anyway, SeaWorld, A+. We had so much fun going for our first time visit in a long time.
Yes.
And I see us visiting very, very soon because there was a few things we didn't get to do and we want to go back and do them.
I want to do another upcharge experience. Like I want to touch a penguin or
I want to do the rafting ride.
Oh yeah, definitely want to do that. It was like really cold the day we went.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Yeah.
get wet. I was not feeling like getting soaked that day.
Yeah.
We got wet enough on Atlantis, and that was plenty wet enough. So, moving forward from that, we'll talk about our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout at Disney's California Adventure.
Yes, and we should just say this was a Friday night and we only went for this.
Yes,
Yeah, we
we
didn't do
only
anything
went
else.
for this.
Yeah.
And prefacing all of this with, we were huge Tower of Terror fans.
Yeah.
Huge fans of Tower of Terror. So we were extremely sad knowing that this was going away. And I think over the time of it going away and Guardians opening, our excitement for the new ride kind of got going.
I
Especially
still
after
miss
seeing...
Tower.
We still miss Tower.
Yeah.
But we don't think that it's a lesser than Tower, at least. We think it's
On
met
par.
expectations.
Yeah.
So that's good. And I think after seeing Guardians 2, I think our excitement kind of raised even more to
Yeah.
see everything that they were going to do and knowing that they had a group meet and greet and, knowing the characters are going to be in the ride and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I tried to stay away from spoilers. It didn't work. I knew exactly what was coming.
I saw nothing. I didn't
so
go
your
on
reaction
YouTube.
your reaction was worth it for me.
Yeah.
So that was worth it. But so if you go to themeparkduo.com, once again, like we said before, there's a whole blog post about the line. So we're not going to go super detailed into the line because we've talked about that in the blog post. But the line when we got there was 90 minutes. It was
Yes.
an extended queue back into this back area.
And this was at what, like 7 o'clock, 8
no,
o'clock?
it was like at 7:30.
7:30.
7:30ish.
Yeah.
And so we got into the extended queue line. That was moving pretty quick, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And it was not moving, and when it did move, it barely moved.
And just by looking up at the tower, you can see like when the
Doors open. The
so
far left one.
was not opening. So we knew that one of the shafts went down.
So by the time that we actually got out of the extended queue and actually got into the queue, the wait went from 90 minutes to 150 minutes.
yeah.
So that really sucked. But we waited, we got there, went through the outside, finally got to the inside. We got to see all the things hanging from the inside of the queue. You could see Figment. You got to watch a little video. And I was really impressed with what they did. They really transformed the inside. I wasn't so impressed by the outside because
Yeah.
the outside of the tower, yes. The outside line,
Queue.
no. It felt like it was like a fresh coat of paint and a couple metal pieces, and
They
that's
could
about
have
it.
they could have done more, but it didn't look very different.
Which, by the way, Fast Pass location,
Yeah.
not even freaking changed.
No, it's not changed at all.
So that's a little bothersome.
yeah, well, I'm sure they'll change it eventually, but they don't even. Do they have fast passes?
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
Well,
disappear really quickly.
get on that, Disney. Change
Right.
that. Yeah, they should have been changing that when they were changing everything else. But Yeah, but it doesn't look much different. They have a cute little part where they show, like, Rocket's footprints in the wet paint.
Yeah, so the storytelling starts on the outside, which I love.
Yeah.
I love that the story has already started just by looking at the attraction.
Just by looking at the names,
the sign. And then once you're in the line, you see that it's footprints on the other side. And on the side of the building, there's a hole blown out where he got in.
Yeah.
So that's all part of the story. And you're listening to music that are part of the collector's collection. Once you go inside, you kind of hear, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy, and you see them in there, and the characters act like they're characters and talk to each other and stuff like that.
I wanted to watch more of that video. I wanted to stay in that room longer.
Apparently there's a Stan Lee cameo in the attraction, so I didn't
we
realize
didn't see it. And let's talk about the little room you go into to see the video.
Yeah, so once you're done walking through that area where you see the collector's collection and stuff, you see the collector's painting, and originally in Tower where you actually go to the little studies, now it's the collector's office on either side. So you go in, they actually start the process of the whole hand thing. So they say, put up your hands, they scan your hand, and then you put up your hand again, and then you have access to the room. So that's where that kind of all starts to kind of come into play. Then once you're in the office, they close the doors, you're surrounded by the different pieces of the collection, which have a lot of nuances to
Disney stuff.
Tower of Terror itself, even XS Company, which is from Alien Encounter over at Magic Kingdom when it was open. Lots of things. And you watch a video and the collector's about to tell you exactly what's going to happen. And out of the air vent, you see it open, you hear crash, and you see a little tail walk across the top of the shelf, and then you see Rocket lean up, and he's messing with wires, and he turns off the TV. And it's an AA animatronic of Rocket Raccoon.
It's really impressive.
It's extremely impressive. I mean, I loved that they added something of value to the ride. It's not like they just changed it and just put very simple things in there. It was something of value, and I loved it. And it looked good, more importantly. So, he tells you about the kind of the ride itself, like what's going to happen, what the storyline of the ride. So, he tells you once again, he doesn't have access because the scanners can't read his paws. So, he scans your hands to get access to the gantry lift. He's going to take you to the top, explode the generator, then let free the Guardians of the Galaxy, his friends. And so once he's done explaining this, he kind of crawls across again, he disappears, and he steals the Walkman.
Star-Lord's
Walkman. And you see his hand come down, grab it, and go up, which is very cool.
Yeah, which you could miss because the Walkman, like,
is in a shelf in the back.
Yeah, it's in a display case. So, you know, if you didn't know it was there, you'd miss it. And then, like, it's just so quick at the end. Like, everyone's walking out of the room, so if you're not looking, you'll miss it. And he sweeps his little arm down and steals the Walkman. I really love that part.
Yeah, no, it was a nice added thing for the story. Mm-hmm. So once you go through there, you go into the boiler room, which really didn't change that much.
No, they added some, like, screens, like, on the pipes and gears and stuff that were already there.
There was these strings of lights that were going on, and there was some, like, alien stuff going on to the left on the bottom. We were on the bottom level, not the top level. And this is where you actually see Harold from Matterhorn, the original Yeti.
That's cool.
Animatronic is sitting there part of the collection now, so that's really, really cool to see him there. The real big difference in that area was the soundscape. Just the way it sounded being in there was very different. I know a lot of people have an issue with this room, and so do I, to a certain extent. They could have done a lot more. Mm-hmm. A lot more. Once you're done there, you get in line into your numbers. This is where they reinforce the numbers, the hand thing again, where you have to scan your hand in order to get into the gantry lift. So this continues to go along and play with that whole you have to put your hands up to move. So you get into your gantry lift, and they give you the spiel. They say if anything you drop, they don't say if you lose anything, it'll be lost in another dimension anymore. They say if you lose something, it'll forever be a part of the collector's collection. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So as soon as that happens, the doors close, and there's a projection that happens. So it kind of looks like it's supposed to be a light of you backing away, but it is a projection of kind of like the grating of the elevator shaft being projected onto the doors. As you back away, it goes away, and you hear the collector tell you, like, this is the moment you've been waiting for, and all this stuff. And you see the outline of Rocket.
The shadow, yeah.
The shadow of Rocket on the doors show up remove the wires and alarms start going off and a red light goes on and he plugs it into the Walkman.
Yeah.
And so that's why each ride has a choice of 6 different songs. And what were they? They were like Free Ride, I Want You Back, Burn in Love.
We got Free Ride, right?
We got Free Ride. There was a few other ones. And this is the moment where you didn't know this was going to happen, and I knew it was going to happen, so I was really excited to see it. And as soon as you saw Rocket, you got so happy.
I squealed.
You squealed.
Yeah.
You got so happy to see Rocket. So you heard the music, and you're like, "What? This is cool!" And so he says, "He goes, put those hands up, people." And so once again, the putting up of the hands is part of the story, and I think that is so genius.
Yeah.
Because it makes everybody raise their hands for the ride.
Uh-huh.
It's so smart. Like, I can't get over how smart that was. It's so simple and so effective.
And everyone did it.
And everyone listened.
Yeah.
And nobody's like, "Oh yeah, I'm putting my hands up for the ride. Oh no, I'm putting my hands up for the scanner. It has to work."
Yeah.
You know, people are in it. And once they realize that that's what they're doing, they don't anymore and they hang on because
Yeah.
they're scared.
Yeah.
But the fact that it tricks people is really smart. Really, really smart. So as soon as he says you have clearance, he presses a lever, the doors close, and you fly up really fast and you explode the generator, which is the same room where they had the hallway with the ghosts and tower.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, it's randomized. So depending on what song you have, those different things will happen, and then it's a different drops depending on what songs you have as well.
And what's going on the
Screens
screen,
are different.
because then you see all the Guardians at one point, and like for us, the gravity got turned off for some reason.
Yeah, so
and
we
Groot's
started floating up.
and Groot's like floating by the button. And someone, I forgot who, said,
Star-Lord.
"Push the button, Groot." And the moment
He
that
presses
Groot
it.
presses the button,
You drop.
So it's even like what you're experiencing is going along with what's on the screen. I thought that was so much fun.
Yeah.
But that's could be different every time too, right?
Yeah, that's
There's
different.
A few different.
There's a lot of
There's
different
a lot
ones.
of different options. So it's
And-
kind of like Star Tours in that respect. You don't know what you're gonna get.
What I was excited about was to see how they kind of dealt with the doors opening, because if you're supposed to be enveloped in this alien world, why are we
Looking
in
at-
Anaheim?
yeah.
You know, and I think what they did was very tongue-in-cheek, and I think it worked, and kind of just essentially was like, it doesn't matter. Just
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah.
And so when the doors open, you know, Rocket says one of a few different things, but one of them is that Disneyland? That's so weird.
Like he's confused too.
And then you just drop. And I laughed at that because I thought it was a really funny, just kind of like, of course, it's silly. We're on a ride at Disneyland or at California Adventure. You get it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it's kind of poking fun at itself. There are other moments in the ride where you're doing kind of the drops and stuff where Rocket says other lines. Where it's like, does anybody have any tape? Because this button isn't staying down. And then you drop because he's trying to press the button. Or he's like, what does this button do? And you hear him get electrocuted, then you drop again. Stuff like that.
I missed a lot of those lines. Like, honestly, the music was really loud.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
One of the main biggest issues I have with the attraction is the balancing of sound.
Yeah.
Because there's so many times where the music was blaring so loud that you couldn't hear him say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known he said any of that unless you told me.
Yeah, I mean, even at the end where you stop and you kind of see all the Guardians say like, hey, thank you for helping us. The music goes from loud to just cuts off to quiet.
Yeah.
There is no like fade into quiet music.
Yeah.
It is just cut off and is quiet.
Yeah.
It's really awkward.
A little jarring.
And even after you say goodbye to them, you fly up and down a few more times, and then you go back down to where you got on. And there is audio there, too, of, like, all the Guardians talking. And it's really hard to hear them talking.
I heard that part. Drax was like,
Why
why are we thanking them? I did all the work or something.
Yeah, I did all the work.
Yeah, I heard that part.
But it's still very difficult to hear because of everything going on.
Yeah.
I think they need to really work on how they balance that noise and the sound all together with the music. I do have to say that the added bit of music makes the ride feel so different.
Oh, yeah.
It is such a different vibe because originally it was this creepy elevator, you're scared, all this stuff. Now it's just like a feel-good ride.
It's fun.
It's a feel-good ride.
It kind of gives you the same feeling that the movies do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're just happy-go-lucky. We had Free Ride, which was a good track. I really wanted I Want You Back by Jackson 5, because that's just a good song. Or Burn in Love Like, both those songs are really good for this attraction. And
I thought Free Ride was great.
Free Ride was really good.
Yeah.
It was really good. There was one other one that Born to be Wild. I was like, I don't want Born to be Wild. I don't need that. That's played out. It was played out 20 years ago. But yeah, I mean, overall, the attraction, I loved it. I got off saying Tower Who. That was my reaction. And then later I was like, oh, I still miss Tower of Terror. I still miss seeing the looming hotel in the background from Buena Vista Street.
Yeah.
I still and will always miss that.
Yeah.
I still and will always miss that. But I think this is a on par successor to that attraction.
I agree.
I think it's just as fun, and to some people, maybe a little bit more fun because of the added atmosphere. You know, it's a different type of atmosphere.
Yeah, and people who know Guardians more than they knew Tower of Terror. You know, kids. I don't know how many kids now watch the Tower of Terror movie, or have any.
They only knew Twilight Zone.
Or
because of that.
Yeah, they only knew Twilight Zone because of that. They probably never even watched an episode.
Yeah. And a lot of the comments that I'm hearing is that it's just too much media, because each level that you see the Guardians is a screen. I mean, it's simply just a giant screen.
So you have media now instead of a dark shaft. So I don't hate it.
Well, I mean, it's a media instead of
dark shaft.
Media instead of a practical set with some media in front of it.
No, but I'm saying, like, compared to what it was before.
I'm talking about, like, the scenes that you see in the attraction.
Yeah.
So, like, when you get in Tower, you back up, you go up, you see the mirror, which is a practical set.
Yeah.
With the mirror that is partially digital, kind of helping that illusion.
Yeah.
And then when you go up to the hallway, it's a practical set with a projection on a glass.
Yeah.
So, mainly all of it is practical in that attraction, as opposed to ours, which has some practical elements to it, but is all digital.
Yeah, but, like, those are two very quick things in the beginning. Like, for Tower of Terror, I didn't even, like, really associate that with the ride. Those were two things that happened before anything actually happened. You hadn't dropped yet or anything. Like, with the screen, with the media, they were able to continue the story farther into the ride. Because, like, before it was like, okay, with Tower, it's like, okay, these two things, and then you're plummeting up and down in a dark shaft, and there's no more. That's it, no more story, nothing. But I feel like with the screens, they were able to continue the story longer into the ride.
Well, also think about it this way. I mean, the amount of rooms were the same. Nothing changed.
I know, but you got to experience them longer.
And the only reason why is because they just spread them out. So instead of everything being at the front and then the main attraction just happening last, they place those rooms sporadically between the drops.
Yeah.
So that, there's something in between to see and a little bit more fun of an aspect to it.
Yeah.
It's all just a matter of, like, that pacing that they did with the ride, which I do agree that I think Guardians pacing is way better.
Yeah.
I think it's way better. It feels like you're getting much more for what you're getting. And especially because it's randomized.
Yeah.
I just feel like you're getting a lot more. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think that the idea that people are having issues with it being mostly media, I understand. I understand that it's just a screen. Totally get it. But with what they were trying to achieve, I see it very hard for them to have done...
They couldn't have gone any other way.
Something else, unless they did like a what they do at Universal for like Fast and Furious, where it's the projection in front of a practical set.
But
there's only so much space.
Yeah, I don't think they had the space for that.
Yeah, there's only so much space, and especially if they wanted to get the kinetic energy that they really wanted to have within those moments, there's no way in heck you're going to be able to do that with a projection.
Yeah.
Or to give it depth like they did with the screens, know. I can't think of a way. I mean, if anybody else could think of a way and disagrees with me, by all means, let us know. I want to know if you disagree with me on this, but...
My personal opinion, though, I don't hate the media. I don't hate the screens.
No, I don't hate the screens either, because they're so minimal in the attraction when you're going, because you're so enthralled in the dropping and going, or you're watching, you're like, oh, Star-Lord again, oh my god, and then you're going again.
Yeah.
They're not moments where you're just staring at it for a very long time. Maybe when you stop and they're like, hey, thanks guys, you're staring at it for a bit longer. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there really isn't a moment where you're just staring at media for a very long time.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. And then also the fact that it would never just stopped at those moments. You're continually bouncing and moving through those scenes, and then you would fly up again. So, all together, I had a blast. I can't wait to ride it again. Seriously, I cannot wait to ride it again.
I hope it's not a 150-minute wait next time, but maybe we'll get there early enough to get a fast pass.
Yeah, right? And our fast pass will be for like 9 o'clock.
That's fine.
So, but at least we get to ride it again. And I'm excited to ride it again. And congratulations to the Imagineers who worked on that and did a pretty phenomenal job of replacing something that a lot of people were angry about it going away. So I think they did a phenomenal job, and the fact that the line is so long, I think that's a key to success there. I think they did a great job.
I think so too.
That ends our show today.
Yeah.
But, Nikki, did you know that people can listen to us somewhere else?
What do you mean?
You look genuinely confused.
I really am. What do you mean somewhere else?
We were on someone else's show.
Yes. Oh, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, so we were on the One Little Spark podcast.
With Rich,
and that's dropping soon, right? Or it already has, maybe.
I think it's going up today, the day we're recording, so.
Yeah, so you can listen to us on the One Little Spark podcast, and we talked all about our Walt Disney World honeymoon.
Yeah, so we talked about all the little different things, and apparently we did a lot more than Rich has ever done. And he lives in Florida. So it's a pretty long, really entertaining episode. I suggest everybody check it out. We've said One Little Spark podcast is pretty amazing here on the show before, but if you're a Disney fan and you want Disney, One Little Spark podcast is the place to go. Every episode they have weekly park updates, things that are changing, silly hidden Mickey things, fun news, everything you could imagine that you love about Disney and Disney theme parks. So make sure you check out One Little Spark Podcast on iTunes. You can just type it in, One Little Spark Podcast, and you'll find it.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks everybody for listening today. We know it was a little bit of a longer one than normal, but hopefully you enjoyed kind of this hodgepodge episode in a way.
We were all over the place.
Yeah,
mostly
literally.
at SeaWorld.
Literally, and we were in Anaheim, and then we were in SeaWorld, and then we were all over the other place. Yeah, literally. But guys, if you want to leave us a 5-star written review, we'd love and appreciate that so much. It helps us out so much and brings us up in the standings.
And we'll shout you out on the show.
Yes, and actually, funny enough, we have a 5-star written review to read on the show today.
What a coincidence!
And I think we kind of know who it's from just a little bit because he makes a tongue-in-cheek joke. It was titled Hop in Line by Hendel TBD.
Oh, I know who that is.
Exactly. So thank you so much, Hendel, for leaving us a 5-star review. It really helps us out, like we had said before. So make sure, everybody, if you want to shout on the show, head on over to iTunes and write a 5-star written review.
And where can they find us everywhere else?
We have things all over social media. So you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter.
Periscope,
Instagram, and you can find us everywhere at Theme Park Duo. And we also have our website, themeparkduo.com, that we've mentioned before, where we have a lot of fun blogs and things from around the United States. We have some people in Florida, and we have people here in California as well.
And you can send us emails. You can just say hi. You can recommend topics for the show at themeparkduo@gmail.com.
Yes, and more importantly, Nikki, how can people find you?
You can find me at NikkiM_313 on Twitter. I finally memorized it.
I'm so proud of you right now. You're not looking at your phone or anything.
But I'm still not very good at Twitter, and I can't figure out how to log back in, so...
So even if you do find her, it doesn't matter.
So I memorized it, but now I just have to figure out how to get back into it. Gabe, I need your help later.
Okay, I will help you. Yes.
Twitter is so confusing. I don't get it.
You type words, and then you press enter, and other people type words back.
I don't get it at all. But I will read and respond to people who reach out to me.
She'll respond verbally, but she can't type it because apparently she just doesn't know how it works.
No, please.
You're so flustered.
Talk to me so I can learn and get better at Twitter.
I'm so lonely.
I still have someone to talk to.
And if you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at Lakers793. And remember, guys, most importantly of anything, there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya!
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.
There is a place like no other, where a walk down Main Street can feed you with wonder.
Hey, the name's Rocket, and I need your help. The Collector has trapped my friends, the Guardians of the Galaxy, in his weird freak show. Check it out. This is the joint we're in, and we need you to help us break out. Got it? Good. Now move it. I gotta go.
Here, there is magic for days.